Hey YouTubers, welcome to the Cyber Overwatch channel. I am Pragmatic One. In this video, I will be doing a walkthrough of the OffSec Proving Grounds Fanatastic vulnerable host. I will provide a walkthrough of reconnaissance through post-exploitation. This will include performing port scanning, service enumeration, directory traversal, arbitrary file read, hash decryption, and privilege escalation. If you find this content informative and you are interested in cybersecurity, please like and subscribe to the Cyber Overwatch channel. Also, for more free content, please regularly check back on www.cybersec.com. Fanatastic is a vulnerable host created by Lakshmi Narayana to allow users to practice ethical hacking techniques. This virtual machine is accessible from the OffSec Proving Grounds virtual training lab. Fanatastic is affected by directory traversal, arbitrary file read, and a variety of security misconfigurations. I went ahead and started my target host Fanatastic. As shown on the screen, it now has an IP. The first thing I will need to do is information gathering, including port scans and service enumeration. I will use the reliable nmap to gather what information I can about the target host. I'll run the following command shown on the CLI. Reviewing the nmap scan results, it appears that nmap has detected 3 open ports: port 22 SSH, port 3000 HTTP, and port 9090 HTTP. Going by the information provided by the nmap scan, the vulnerable host Fanatastic is looking like a Linux host. This is based on the detected OS type via service info, CPE, and SSH service running. With the discovery scan completed, I'll focus on port 3000 first and then port 9090. When I browse to port 3000, a login of Grafana is displayed. Reviewing the page, I can see the version of Grafana running. Grafana is an open source analytics and visualization web application. It provides charts, graphs, and alerts for the web when connected to supported data sources. Reviewing the page source, I can see there are subdirectories like fonts, img, and build that I can manually review to look for anything useful. Browsing to port 9090 brought me to a Prometheus web GUI without requiring any kind of authentication. I reviewed the page source and there was nothing really useful. Based on reviewing the Prometheus GitHub documentation, port 9090 is the default port for the Prometheus server. When I browse to runtime and build information, it shows the build version of Prometheus and the Go version. I ran the following search exploit command shown in the CLI. The search exploit results showed a promising directory traversal and arbitrary file read exploit. I ran the following search exploit command shown in the CLI. The output shows the link to the exploit DB page where the script is located on Kali, the CVE, and also copies over the script to the current directory, which is the downloads folder. Reviewing the script, it provides some information on the author, as well as links to the vulnerability information used to develop the exploit. It also shows the exploit needs to be run in Python 3. The script also appears to contain a list of Grafana plugin names. This was determined by reviewing the Grafana documentation that shows available plugins for Grafana. Reviewing the script further, it appears that the script utilizes the predefined list of Grafana plugins shown earlier, like alert list, bar chart, etc. The choice --plugin _list function is where the script appears to iterate through the possible plugins until it finds a plugin that is installed on the target host to construct potentially vulnerable URLs. It also appears to append the directory traversal path sequence to the plugin names within the URL path. These sequences traverse up several directory levels, essentially reaching outside the intended plugin directory to the file to read value, which would be replaced with the file requested like /etc/passwd. To get a better understanding about the vulnerability, I searched for the CVE-2021-43798 and found a great write-up by Jordi Versmissen. He discovered the vulnerability on December 2nd, where during a source code audit, he discovered that path traversal was possible because the file path.clean function did not sanitize user input. The first thing I want to do is verify that I can read system files. I'll rename the exploit script from exploitdbid to the graph_exploit.py just to make things easier for me. As noted earlier, the exploit script should be able to read system files, but may be dependent on the privileges of the account running the command. When I ran the exploit using the command shown in the CLI, I got a read file prompt. Entering the /etc/passwd displayed the passwd file contents. It looks like there is a standard user account, any account with UID 1000 or above. I see Grafana, Prometheus, and system admin. For a list of possible files to try, you can look up Linux sensitive files list from InfoSec Warrior's GitHub repository. There are other resources you can look up as well, like payload all things. I tried other files like /etc/shadow, but it appears that the account affected by the vulnerability, the Grafana account, does not have the necessary privileges. After researching Grafana more, I determined that I should be able to access the Grafana system files with the current account. One of the files in the documentation that I was interested in was the grafana.ini configuration file. Entering the following path /etc/grafana/grafana.ini obtained by reviewing the Grafana documentation, I was able to read the Grafana configuration file. As I scrolled down, I could see that the Grafana instance uses SQLite 3 and the database name was GrafanaDB. Scrolling further, I could also see what looks to be default credentials for Grafana. I tried logging in with admin but was not successful. Going back to the Jordi Versmissen write-up, I remembered that it noted that one action that could be taken with the vulnerability is to download the SQLite database. Reviewing the Grafana security advisory, it notes the path to use in order to exploit the vulnerability. Plus, I'll append the path traversal noted in the exploit script. I'll use curl to attempt to download the grafana.db file. I'll run the following curl command shown in the CLI. The --path-as-is tells curl not to squash or merge the traversal sequence in the given URL path. Curl's normal behavior would be to squash or merge. I entered in the path as noted in the Grafana advisory and used the first plugin in the list, alert list. Then I appended the path traversal noted in the exploit. Reviewing the Grafana documentation, it noted that the default location for the grafana.db file is in /var/lib/grafana. I then set the location and name that I wanted to save the DB as. Based on the output, it looks like the DB file downloaded successfully. With the DB file downloaded, I ran the following command shown in the CLI and typed .tables to view the names of the tables stored in the DB. One table of interest is the data source table. I ran the following command shown in the SQLite prompt, and it displayed the admin account and password hash. Unfortunately, I was unable to crack the hash. Another location credentials can be stored is in the data_source table. SQLite 3 data sources protects credentials by default, employing secure JSON data storage and AES 256 encryption in cipher feedback mode. I ran the command shown in the SQLite prompt to look at the data_source table. As shown on the screen, it contains the password hash for the Prometheus account. Through Googling, I was able to find JAS502n's GitHub repository, which discussed the vulnerability but also provided a Go script that appears to allow for the decryption of the SQLite 3 password hash located in the data_sources table. In an attempt to decrypt the SQLite password hash, I downloaded the repository using the git command shown in the CLI. As shown on the screen, I changed the directory to the grafana-cve-2021-43798 folder, then ran the ls command to verify that the script was downloaded, then ran the chmod command on the script to make it executable. With aesdecrypt.go downloaded, I needed to modify the Go script. I opened the script and scrolled down to function main. I replaced the data source password with the password hash that I received from the grafana.db data_source table. After running the Go script using the command shown in the CLI, the output was shown in plain text, super secure password. I attempted to log in via SSH to the Prometheus account with the password decrypted by the AES decrypt script, but I got permission denied. Reviewing the information I had gathered so far, I remembered that there were 3 standard user accounts. When I changed the login account to sysadmin from Prometheus, authentication was successful. I ran sudo-l to see what sudo privileges the sysadmin account has, and it appears that the account does not have any sudo privileges. I ran /bin/bash-i to get an interactive shell. Then I ran cat on the local.txt file to view the first flag. I need to enumerate the hosts, so I ran my HTTP server using the following command shown in the CLI so that I can upload linps to the target host. On the target host, I changed directories to the /temp folder. Then I ran the following wget command shown in the CLI to download linps to the target host. Based on the output, it appears that the download was successful. I ran ls-la to verify that linps is in the /temp folder. Looking at linp's permissions, I will need to run chmod to make linps executable. I ran the following chmod command shown in the CLI and ls-la to verify that linps is now executable. I'll run the following command shown in the CLI to launch linps. It took a few seconds and linps detected that the sysadmin account was a member of the disk group, which may be exploitable based on linp's highlighted color. The disk group is considered a system group that is a special purpose group used for system operations like maintenance or for granting access to hardware. System groups have a low group ID. I ran the following command shown in the CLI. Based on the output, it shows the system admin account is part of the disk system group. Based on the Debian system groups wiki page, the disk group is mostly equivalent to root access. I googled Linux disk group and the results showed a few web links discussing privilege escalation via disk groups. Reviewing one of the resources from the Google search provided me with a possible method for exploiting the disk group that the sysadmin account was a part of. I ran the df-h command to see what partitions were available. From the output, I could see that there was the /dev/sda2 partition. The df utility is also known as disk-free. It's a vital tool for system administrators and system users. It offers insight into disk space utilization across mounted file systems. df leverages data sourced from either /proc/mounts or /etc/mtab and provides a detailed picture of storage resource allocation. While the default output unit is kilobytes for granular precision, df employs standard SI prefixes like M for megabytes and G for gigabytes to enhance comprehensibility and avoid information overload. Now that I know what partitions are available, I ran debug-fs command as shown in the CLI to see what access the sysadmin account has to the partition. When I ran the command as shown in the CLI, I get a debug-fs prompt. Debug-fs is a tool in Linux normally used for debugging. It exposes internal information like files, systems, and drivers. It's mounted at /sys/kernel/debug and accessed like a regular file system. The amount of access given to the disk group is similar to root privileges because it allows you to read any file. To test my access, I ran the cat command on the /etc/shadow file in the debug-fs prompt, and I was able to view the root account's password hash. I can attempt to crack the root account password hash, but I will do a little more enumeration for sensitive data. One of the sensitive files I always look for is the id_RSA file. That is normally located in the .ssh folder of a user's home directory. Running the following command shown in the CLI, I was able to verify that the root account has a private key. I copied the contents of the id_RSA file and saved it to a text file named graph_id_RSA. I ran the chmod command shown in the CLI on the id_RSA file in order to allow me to authenticate with it. I'll run the following command shown in the CLI to log in as root with the id_RSA file. Based on the output, I was able to log in as root. I ran the ls-la command to view the contents of the root account home directory. Based on the output, I was able to view the proof.txt file. I ran the cat command to view the contents of the proof.txt file, and I was able to capture the root flag. The host has now been completed. To conclude this video, using a variety of techniques, I was able to go from recon to gaining root privileges on Fanatastic. My initial recon yielded crucial information. Through the systematic approach, I successfully gained a foothold on the target host. Further, host enumeration uncovered a viable path to escalate my privileges, ultimately capturing the root flag. Thank you for tuning in to this demonstration of OffSec Proving Grounds Fanatastic Vulnerable Host. Thank you for also checking out the Cyber Overwatch channel. If you find this content informative and you are interested in cybersecurity, please like and subscribe to the Cyber Overwatch channel. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a question in the comments, or you can send me a message from the CyberSec website listed in the description. Until next time, keep learning. The only way to improve is to keep learning. Pragmatic One, signing off.